There is a version of this story where they gave the dog away. They came within 3 days of it. Not because they didn't love him. They did. But they were 7 weeks postpartum and running on 4 hours a night, and their Samoyed Frost had taken to waking them up at irregular intervals through the night, which was not compatible with the sleep they were desperately trying to protect. He was not barking, not whining. He would come to whoever's side of the bed was closer and nudge with his nose. A single persistent nudge that was enough to surface them from sleep. They would say his name, tell him to go to bed, and he would go. 10 minutes later, he was back. They had tried everything: extra exercise, a gate across the bedroom, leaving him in the living room. He found his way back. By week 7, Camille and Diego Vega were discussing the rescue conversation. They had a baby. They could not afford to have their sleep disrupted more than the baby was already disrupting it. Frost was 2 years old, smart, healthy, and could be rehomed to someone whose sleep was not the most precious resource in the house. It was a reasonable conclusion, and they almost made it. Diego's mother suggested the camera. Not as a strategy. She suggested it because she thought there might be another dog in the yard at night, bothering Frost from outside. A security reason, not a behavioral one. Diego put the camera in the hallway because it was easier than arguing. They watched the footage the first night. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Frost would go to the nursery door at irregular intervals. He would stand there for a period ranging from 40 seconds to 4 minutes. Then he would go to the bedroom and nudge. Then return to his bed. Then go back to the nursery. Each nudge was timed to follow his nursery check. He was nudging them randomly. He was nudging them after he had been at the nursery door. Diego called the pediatrician the next morning. He described the footage. The pediatrician said, "Bring the baby in." Their son Nico had a mild but building respiratory infection, early-stage bronchiolitis, not yet visible to the parents as distress, but producing a pattern of micro-irregularities in his breathing that was apparently accessible to a Samoyed with his nose pressed to a door gap multiple times each night. The pediatrician said, "He was monitoring," she said. Each nudge was a report. She said this clearly and without decoration, because it was the plainest way to describe what had happened. Has your pet ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. The rescue conversation did not happen. Nico was treated. The bronchiolitis resolved in 5 days. Frost's nighttime pattern returned to normal. 1 check, then sleep. Within a week of Nico coming back from his follow-up appointment with a clean bill of health. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Camille thinks about the rescue conversation. She thinks about the 3 days. She thinks about a dog who was doing the most important thing in the house and could not explain it in any language they had thought to use a camera to learn. She did not say thank you to Frost. She sat on the floor next to him, and he put his head on her knee, and they stayed like that for a while, and she thinks that was probably enough. The next story involves a cat who refused to eat from her bowl for 4 days before anyone connected it to the smell near the kitchen vent.